And the matchup tends to be fairly even. I think the Void Spirit can kind of work an advantage overall. They both have really good ways of wave clearing. You've got the Flame Shield from the Flame Guard from the Ember Spirit, Resonant Pulse from Void Spirit. I think the Ember Spirit's a bit more resilient in that lane, simply because you block off the magical harass of the Void Spirit with your shield, whereas Void Spirit only blocks the physical aspect, which, if you go max Flame Guard, doesn't really matter for the Ember. So he can kind of work that lane in terms of the aggression, try to work towards that level 6. Omega are building up into their team fight, though. Snapfire coming through. Snap Mag can get an RP with Kisses flying out. We have seen big plays with the Snapfire once Ags is farmed up. That's way down the line, but even something like the Blink Ag Shard timing is just ridiculous. Like, you blink up, you get the Scatter Blast off, you get this really good stun, and can just set up for the rest of the team to follow up. So I think this builds into some really good timings for Omega. It gives them some good support rotation potential as well, with this Grimstroke pickup as well. You have a lot of combinations there. Inkswell, RP is really strong if you can land that timing once you have a blink in the mag. So they really are working for this really big teamfight combination that Boom, they don't really have the same kind of presence in a 5v5. Like, you will have a lot of presence from the Rubik, to a certain extent the Undying with the Tombstone and the Golem form for damage amp, but nothing quite as big as an RP or even as the Kisses and wide AoE there.
Certainly not. Boom Esports, see how they want to try and deal with this. But the problem is, John, all these great heroes you're picking up for Omega is just giving more spells the way of Tim's on that Rubik. I mean, he's just got so much value right now. You talked about the RP, you've got the Empower, you've got the Skewer, you've got the Mortimer's Kisses, you've got the Inkswell, the Stroke of Fate. It's just all great abilities to have as Rubik. And now a Tide to come out. We saw Boom Esports yesterday, FBZ. Mid Wukong's command, what does he start doing, John? Takes out the trusty shovel, starts digging, gets a bounty rune. Just no care in the world from FBZ. He was surrounded, Jonathan. He was still digging. It almost felt like he was trying to send a message like, I'm digging their grave. I'm getting it ready. And of all things, he finds a bounty rune, and it just disgusted me. Just perfect timing from FBZ. It's almost like he knew it was coming.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you know, if you're feeling confident up front, the Tidehunter is very hard to kill off. You do have a good amount of damage on hand, but I think for the Tidehunter, a quick Hood of Defiance is going to counteract a lot of that until more physical comes through from the Ember with the Empower. That does give Boom their big team fight that they were lacking, right? Like, now they have a tool to fight against RP, to give themselves more control in these team fights. There's the potential for stolen RP plus the Ravage here, which is pretty scary. Even Kisses with Ravage, stolen Kisses with Ravage is really strong as well. So I like this coming out from Boom. The lane combination of Tide Rubik is fairly strong. Like, early on, you can definitely reduce the attack damage of the opposing core with a Fade Bolt, with the Anchor Smash. So last hitting could be a bit of an issue. You're going to have to see the Grimstroke really put in a lot of effort to kind of zone them out in that lane.
Well, certainly so. Final ban out here from Boom Esports, and we can continue. Both teams just focusing on those position 1 opportunities, or rather options. Came to the realization as well, John, that the kids outside that are going to be knocking on my door all night are probably going to be legitimately afraid at the screaming man in the office, because my office is right next to the front door as well. So it's kind of it's like a double-edged sword, right? Like, they know I'm home, so they know I'm here, and I'm just purposely not answering the door. They're not going to know what I'm doing. They don't know I'm working right now, right? They don't realize I can get up and just open the door and give them the damn candy. And on top of that, Jonathan, the positive is they'll probably be very afraid of what's going on in my household. Hopefully nobody calls the cops.
From outside, it's just this raving lunatic talking to himself very loudly about heroes and kills and moves to find people on the map. You know, it just sounds like some madman behind the door. So it's perfect for Halloween, Mike. You've got the look, you've got that strong, majestic beard. If they do pop in, you know, if someone's brave enough to crack the door open maybe and peek into the office,
you're so passive aggressive, Jonathan. You said to me you've got the look for Halloween, and then you went back to say you've got a majestic beard. Which one is it, John? Am I suited for Halloween, or do I have a majestic beard?
Why not both? It could be both. You've got a great beard, but kids don't see it that way, you know? Kids find that intimidating. It's a display of power, Mike.
They do.
And they're too young to comprehend that power.
They should be scared, Jonathan. They should be very, very afraid. Boom Esports, final pickup. Actually, I did screenshot that photo yesterday from my camera froze up. It's a damn good photo. Someone actually gave me a great caption too. They said, when your kids come to you and tell you they like League better. And I was like, yeah, that probably would be the look I'd give them. Boom Esports, they'll go for the final pick Slark. It's a great Slark game, Jonathan. Magnus, DK, not the greatest cause against the Slark. The Ember doesn't care so much, but, you know, it does feel like a very free Slark game right now, at least for Boom Esports. Do you find either draft superior to the other? Do you prefer one to the other, John?
I think it's relatively even still. You do have, in a way, you have better scaling on Omega because you've got RP that will always rip through BKBs and spell immunity, so you will always have that tool on hand as the game goes late, because that's really what breaks, you know, the game past 40 minutes, just having those tools to force BKB and not have a way to kind of counteract that. For Boom's part, though, their lineup scales pretty well still. Like, it does feel like as the game goes on, it's all going to be on CTM on the Slark to build up. But you've got decent scaling with Void Spirit. Ag's timing's really big for that hero. The back and forth in lane is really fine as well. Like Slark against Dragonite off lane. It's one of those matchups where he's tanky. Sure, the DK is tanky, but Slark enjoys tanky heroes. Just keep getting that Essence shift up, and sooner or later you're just going to have too much right click to kind of deal with. So I think timing-wise, it's a bit faster for Boom, though. And we have seen that faster timing kind of play into what Boom likes. They always play aggressive early. They try to leverage their advantage. They don't tend to wait around too long. And if Omega's not ready for that, with their slightly later timings here, it could be tough for them to match up against that power spike.
Okay, fair enough. We'll get into game number 1. We'll see what Omega Esports can get done against Boom Esports. Should be a pretty interesting matchup. Of course, we have 4 best of 2s tonight as well, so it's going to be a nice long night of some SCA Dota. That's what we love to see, Jonathan. We hate taking breaks, you and I, especially on Halloween, because I actually have to go address people at my door. So Omega, the Radiant side, of course, Boom on the die. John, you were having some lobby discussions again. You haven't left your page alone about the sponsorships. Do you want to discuss what happened today? Where did you get through this time?
Okay, so I was poking Yopaj about the sponsorships, and Yopaj was like, "Hey, John, treat me to some, you know, just treat me." And he's like, "Why would I treat you? You know, you're the guy with the sponsors." Like, "Oh, all right, I'll treat you, but just don't trash talk me on stream." So now I can't say anything bad about the guy. You know, I have to say his mid lane's perfect, because if I won't, he won't treat me going out.
Well, John,
that's the terms.
Now that I know that, and he hasn't offered me a meal, then I'll be making sure to be watching very carefully in that mid lane for our boy Japoy. Gonna sabotage you, Jonathan. You are not getting a free meal off your page before I do, even if you do live right next to the man. So, do you wanna translate some chat as well? We're in a pause, John. I mean, they're speaking English. I probably shouldn't say translate. Good luck, Alexandra. Who is that?
I do not know. That's probably a little bit more personal and intimate. Would not know who they're referring to each side. Yopaj calling Hero the lover boy, though.
Ooh.
And Hero's calling him Kulit. Kulit is like... Oh, that's hard to translate. That's very specifically Filipino thing, but I'd say... bothersome, but in a playful manner, right? Like, it's a friendly way of calling someone bothersome, so...
Right.
That's basically saying Yopaj just poking too much fun to Hero.
I mean, you know, I'm Australian, John. We tend to poke a lot of fun at each other in very aggressive manners, so I do understand. Van, Decay's out. 2-man Decay's there. Van, he'll still get the bounty, though. So he's all right with that. It's a 2-for-2 trade. Boom Esports unable to gain an advantage with those bounty runes. And while we're here, we'll talk about the top lane. Of course, you've got Hero and Van against CTM and the lovely Hyde on the Undying. John, this laning phase, do you give the advantage over to Boom Esports, or do you think the side of Omega might have this one?
This one's a bit even. I think there are ways for Omega to play this one pretty aggressively. It depends on what Hero goes for on his level 1. He does go for the Shredder in the end. So you can kind of shove out the Slark. He only has, what, 4 base armor? 3 base armor plus 1 from the Essence Shift. So you can melt him down to 0 armor very fast and try to leverage that. You've got double stuns here on Omega as well once the cookie's up. So you can try to shove out the Slark. At the same time, if Hyde cuts you off, gets double decay stacks every time, it's not fun for a DK. He's a strength hero. He's going to lose attack damage and durability from that sort of exchange. Even the Snapfire is a strength-based hero as well. So there's a lot of value in just having Hyde spam out his spells. He doesn't have too much mana regen though, only 1 mango. in stark contrast to some of the Undyings we've seen with like 6 mangoes to start with. So there's only so much you can spam out here for Hyde.
Yeah, absolutely. March would have been absolutely disgusted seeing this from Old Hyde. Not enough mangoes. Might need some coaching. Still mid lane, Yopaj gonna be up against Piols. How am I gonna pronounce that? Is it Piols? Piols?
Yeah, that's right. Piols.
Piols. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so Piols against Yopaj, the Ember vs Void Spirit. We've seen this one many, many times, and I do feel like it is slightly Ember favored just because he has so much magic damage against the Void Spirit. But it does seem like a very kind of mechanical-based mid lane. In fact, while we're talking about that, bot lane, First Blood has been achieved. FBZ to drop, Zenki the one to take it.
And this is a tough time for Boom specifically. There's a lot of slows in the lane for Omega with a safe lane mag and the Grimstroke to support. Get the Stroke of Fate, get the Shockwave off. That's enough time, maybe, for the melee hero to kind of be surrounded by the mag, steer it back to an unsafe spot. And Tim's is going to have to watch himself. He needs to be able to read that, get the lift off to break that combination before it can really get running and save FBZ. I think as long as Omega plays to that strength, keep the wave shoved into their favor, you can certainly start to keep applying and looking for that kill advantage. For the side of Boom, right, you've got Rubik and Tide. You can still play with Anchor Smash and Fade Bolt, but it's a bit tougher to pull off with how Zenki's just positioning himself and how well Prince is utilizing Shockwave to just constantly shove out the wave.
Well, they are certainly doing a fantastic job thus far here at the spot lane for Omega. FBZ definitely can't underestimate. In fact, they're going to go in again. This time around, I doubt they have a kill, but it is a fair amount of damage. Stroke of Fate going to connect, doing a bit more. Zenki, he wants to go for a chase. They needed about 2 more right clicks there, so not quite enough, but I do appreciate the amount of aggression they're pumping in.
Yeah, it's one way to kind of slow down at Tide, and we've seen Tides go off to a slower start. It can still be impactful. You can flash farm in the jungle, but it's not the situation you want the hero to be in. You know, you want to be able to hit your durability item fast, go into the blink, and just start to threaten with Ravage. But if that timing gets thrown off just a tad bit, it could be easy for Omega to use that added time to farm up, especially once that Empower's up and running on the mag.
Certainly so. Over in the mid lane, Hero being chased down by Hyde right now. We've seen this before with these Undyings. They'll just chase you to the ends of the earth if they have to. I think CTM will be very happy seeing this as well, because he's obviously going to enjoy the 1v1 matchup against Van on the DK. Mind you, he hasn't gotten too aggressive yet, so it does seem like CTM's opted to just try and evenly trade here with Van. I suppose in some ways the DK is very good at just denying creeps away, making it very hard to CS with the Breathe Fire. You can already kind of see that reflecting in the CS board right now. 9 denies here on Van against CTM. CTM actually finding himself behind in CS and not actually able to leverage the Essence Shift against the DK.
Yeah, I like that coming out from Van. Like, he gets this massive wave as well under his tower. He's getting solo EXP, hits level 4, has level 2 Dragon Blood, so it's harder to zone out that DK now. You will need the Undying to soften him up with the decay, and Hyde has just been much more focused on preventing Hero from finding angles. So it's a bit of a trade-off there.
Back at mid, Tims, he'll rotate over to fill the bottle there for Yopaj. Still a pretty hard matchup, I'd say, here for Yopaj, but he is ahead, 26-8, not really struggling too much. But you are starting to approach that level 6 mark, so there's not too much to fear after that, at least for both ends of things. I suppose Piols won't be too bothered by this. I mean, he is going against the Idol after all, and he's doing a pretty darn good job of keeping up. They get aggressive now, but the chain's not going to land on the Void Spirit either. Back towards the creeps, and the hell, Yopaj even just fortifies the creep wave just to be extra annoying. Meantime, top lane CTM go for a bit of a chase onto Van. Takes a few essence shifts away, but be about it. In fact, mid lane, Yopaj, he's got an aggressive now. PL's going to try and man fight back. They do have a Stroke of Fate in. Yopaj is going to get taken down. PL's immediately with the voice line out. You even had Hero there just in case they needed it.
Yeah, that's a really timely TP coming out from Zenki, reading that movement out from Yopaj. And there was like, there's like a 3-second delay until the TP comes in, so he knew the dive was coming out, manages to get that Stroke of Fate to help secure that kill. And that gives Piols a massive advantage. He was falling behind a bit in CS, but he hits level 6 a bit faster. He's going to have control of the rune coming up here as well. DD for Piols means that he will have more damage coming through, and that should open up a rotation here.
Hyde, so he's set to go down. Piols going to make the rotation over. Will take his second kill, not the first kill of the game. The last one was an assist. So far, so good for the Ember. Having a great old time at this point. We'll go back for the stacks in the triangle now and just keep escalating that farm. Rest of the Boom still pretty passive. 3 kills behind. Not to be dissuaded by it though. This is pretty standard for Boom to just kind of wait for their timings before they really get moving. In the meantime though, top lane, you try to make a bit of an aggressive move here onto CTM, but he's level 6, so really no chance of dying. He's obviously going to just be able to passively regen up within the fog anyway. So not really too afraid here on the Slark to just get aggressive and trade right clicks, even against 2 heroes.
Yeah, he can just hold that lane. He's left alone, so the supports can make moves elsewhere. Compared to Omega, they are still focusing their attention onto mid. Prince shows up as well just to clear out the creep wave. But this is a time where your Magnus can just go back and jungle. He's got level 3 and power up. He does skip RP early on for farming, but Boom is not punishing this sort of playstyle from Omega. Prince has had a fairly smooth lane, and with the jungle stacks built up, the small stacks he has, he's going to be able to escalate, and even Piols hunts down some stacks in the top jungle as well. So this is just really efficient from Omega. They're taking away all these resources on the map, and Boom is not punishing them.
Top lane, you will see the rotation back in from Hyde. CTM still just casually farming up, not looking to try and get any kind of aggression off quite yet. In the meantime, you've got Omega infiltrating the Dire jungle already, trying to take the stacks away. In fact, it's just Zenki. He's doing a great job of it with the Stroke of Fade, taking most of the creeps away. CTM, he does at least get 1 Centaur for his trouble, and he might find the Zenki kill, but the cookie's there in time. Hyde, he'll get the job done, but now he's going to run. Piols looking to make the chase in on the Ember. Should be able to secure this kill, and he does. Great kill there for the Ember Spirit, and now Hyde, still trying to get aggressive, is running a bit low on mana, but Tims is going to intercept. Hero be alright with the stick charges at least for now, but Piols of the top lane looking to be in a bit of danger. He used all his remnants to try and get the CTM kill, and it may cost him in the end as they continue to chase. And eventually he will drop Tims. He'll be the one to take the kill on the Rubik.
It's still pretty big set of kills coming out from Omega. Slowing down the Slark is an issue for Boom, because the Slark, it can clear jungle and lane creeps fast with a Dark Pack, but it's not at the same pace as a Magus would Empower. So I think Prince is just going to have a good time farming up. Even Piols can compensate with the Empower going onto him down the line. And that should still lead to a smooth ride for Omega. What Boom is doing, though, is relieving some space for FBZ. His bot lane's been ignored. He has managed to catch up and farm on the Tide. Number 1 in that fort now with all this space. And he does have that Hood of Defiance, so you can play around a Ravage soon.
You certainly can. For the mid lane, CTM being chased down again. This time, though, they won't be able to hold him down. A lot of aggression here against the Slark. Just really trying to shut this man down. I suppose that is one of the things with this hero is Slark, he does kind of rely on having a decent laning stage. Otherwise, it can be kind of slow going for the Slark. Right now, 3.7k net worth is not too bad. But you've got to consider the fact he is against a position 1 Magnus. So while the hero did get nerfed, as a pos 1 mag, relying on those right clicks and maybe just building up a silver edge, it can get quite scary throughout the mid to late game.
Never refuse gold.
Yeah, it's got such a massive power spike, and Omega are playing around their spikes really well. Vando, top half.
Gets jumped, a lot of damage flying in from Yopaj. Van still alive somehow, he's going to try and run. Cookie's out, but no, they've got the lift. Surely he does drop. And eventually they'll get him. Hyde just commits the Decade, and sure, they secure the kill. You saw how many heroes that took. I suppose while they're here, they might be able to start pressuring that mid-tier 1 tower with this 10-minute siege creep. Because they do still have the Ravage available. But instead, they're going to smoke up, they'll leave the siege creep to die. Looks like they'll try to rotate top instead.
Could be a big kill, but Prince kind of reads that. TP's away knowing that something's up on mid because the push wasn't committed for. And this is a very awkward time to smoke because their tier 1 is still low. It's down to 165 HP. A small shove in could take that tower out. And with this movement, with the time wasted, I think Omega's got a bit of an opening. They could just look to shove again, or just secure their triangle, which they are. Massive stacks once more being built up, cleared out by Prince. This Magnus is going to really escalate. Already has the Echo Saber into Blink. So once you hit that blink timing, the skewer backs, the RPs, the combination with the Ink Swell, the combination with the Ember is going to be really hard to play against, and Boom has to be ready for that.
Oh, absolutely. Top lane, Yapage, gonna get jumped on here. He'll astral step away, but the chase is on. Peels, he wants to kill Yapage. He's out of step charges for another 15 seconds. RP, not gonna be committed quite yet. Yapage, how well can you juke this one out? Not quite well enough. Peels will take another kill here on the Ember. And so far for our Void Spirit, just not a great time whatsoever.
Yeah, it's been slow going for Yapage, but it's the nature of Void Spirit almost. With just double null phase with brown boots, you don't really do much. You need a ult, you need something to amp up your damage, you want to build into the Yags. Without those key mid-game items, it's hard for Yapage to make these big plays without setup, and Omega's just abusing that. They have great right-click damage on Piols just with the phase boots. They're going to commit for that mid. That tower's not going to last long even with a Fortify.
Certainly not. They're going to force a lot of rotations in here. It's like remnants have been taken by Tim, so you have some nice initiation and mobility here with the Rubik now. In fact, they're going to jump in. Hero is going to be targeted on that Snapfire, and there's one gone. Piols, he's going to be all right. He'll back off immediately, but boom, they do not allow that mid-tier 1 tower to drop. And in the meantime, they can slowly chip away at the enemy mid-tier 1. But Omega, they're still sticking around. They're thinking about going for a fight here. You don't have the RP for 60, but Prince, he could just get in there for a nice skewer and just a few right clicks. He might give it a crack. Boom. Still sticking around. They're not backing off. They want to force a bad fight from Omega. But how bad can you make it? Swell coming in. There's your initiation van. He's found a massive target onto the Void Spirit. Chains out now as well to simulate Ravage. FBZ is going to try and put a stop to this. It goes back in after Van, but I think they have to leave now. Boom, they have not got the damage output. Tims, he'll jump in for a cheeky remnant. Van, he'll be targeted. Yapage, a great to simulate out, but nobody's dying quite yet. Van, he'll still be chased down. CTM, he'll be able to secure one kill. Back to Yapage. He's back in after Hero, but Piols is rushing after FBZ. He wants that tide gone. He should be able to get him, but CTM in the backside, cleaning up. Yapage, nice skewer back with Prince. He's brought the wrong target along. He's going to be the third to go down here for CTM. A triple kill out. It might be a fourth. Piols, he's been caught underneath the tier 4 tower. Tims will take that one. CTM jumps out of there, and it's pretty much a team wipe here for the side of Boom. The only survivor is Hero.
Yeah, it's a massive win for Boom. They finally get the engagement they want. Very staggered coming through from Omega. They just weren't ready. No RP up. But the next time the fight breaks out, they've got the Blink RP ready. So they've got the tools to counterfight. They've got a way to trap them back. That was a really important fight for Boom to find. They were lagging behind and building up on these heroes. They weren't getting the aggression they want. They get the space to deny their mid as well. They don't manage to go for the push. So they don't quite find the objective they want, but I think this is still important for Boom in terms of securing space and build up for that Slark. 3 permanent stacks of Essence Shift up now. Not the biggest for a Slark. It is, sort of a start, and that is going to ramp up once this Diffusal comes in. It's going to be easier for CTM to pull that off. However, they are clumping up to it.
They're going to miss out on CTM, but they'll be able to find Hyde. We always talk about this, but you don't generally want to position 5 with a 4-man smoke, but Hyde, just great positioning there to make sure that CTM remains protected. And in the meantime, on the other side of the map, Prince and Yapage having a bit of fun in the jungle. Jump in, Van, not going to be able to get the stun off in time. Yapage still going to go for a run. You've got the blink up though, Prince. He'll get in there for the RP, and it looks like they've got the Void Spirit. So another nice kill here for Omega. That'll make it 8-8 now. There is going to be a 2k net worth advantage remaining here from Boom Esports.
Yeah, it's an important kill to find. Again, you're slowing down that big item spike for the Void Spirit. Yapage, his Ags is still a ways off. He only just finished up his Yules. So it's been a bit slow going for the Void Spirit, and he is one of the bottom 2 cores right now, just slightly ahead of the Ember. But again, the Ember just has more presence with Empower on, so he doesn't need as much gold to be effective. And it's more important for Yapage to actually stay alive and build up that farm. the side of Boom, they know RP's down. They could maybe look to force fight. They've got Ravage up if they want to commit.
Yeah, Pash, he'll jump in. Aether Remnant, it'll connect. Eos, can he survive? Not quite. FBZ will play no games. Immediate Ravage out, and that's going to open up that mid-tier 1 tower. To be denied off by Hero.
Has been denied.
Yeah, it's just one of the things with Snapfire. Little Shredder makes it so easy to go for the denied plays. Could get caught out. The side of Boomer is still collapsing here.
You've got the Arcane Rune active here on your Page. Fan, though, going to be able to stun up this Void Spirit and make sure they can knock over the Aether Remnant. In fact, they've made the full jump in. Inkspaw's there as well. They've got him. Your Page is down. Hero, he might eventually die. In fact, CTM's the one to take it. Fan, they can't stop him surely. And they will not. So a 1-for-1, but certainly favorable for Omega. Really, the only bright side for Boom there was that CTM at least got some perma-agi.
It's not the best trade in the world. It's still nice kind of giving the Slark that kill, but it's still not a kill you want to give out on the Void Spirit once more. Still, the side of Boomer starting to apply more aggression. They don't really manage to get too deep forwards in the triangle. They spot out Prince at the least.
Oh, the pounce, though, is just off the mark. Prince, he is not going to get out. The lift was available there for Tims. The jump in again, CTM. Some more agi for himself as Hero now going to be chased down. They should have enough, but Van, he'll jump in with a big ink swell out. We'll connect onto one. They've got Hyde down. There goes your Undying. Hero still going to die. Van, he'll be chased down, but the pounce, it doesn't connect from CTM. Do they have the damage? He's got so much agi right now. Maybe he does. Skewer back in from Tims. They've got Van right back into the loving arms of CTM. And they just gift the man more permanent agility.
This is what we talked about for the draft mic. The Rubik has so much utility here. You steal the skewer back, you've got the blink up on Tims. It's very easy to use that tool against him. Although they're forcing a fight under vision.
Jump in, but Yopash, he's there. Aether Remnant, though, going to be taken by one of the golems. FBZ still around. CTM,
yeah.
He's on the cliff right now. Whoopsie. Just maybe going for a bit of a D-ward there, John. I'll make that excuse for CTM as FBZ. Have a jump in, but no, he'll leave Zenki B. Still 3k net worth advantage again from Boom. Omega, they had a fantastic laning phase, but this mid game, it has been back and forth, but it does feel like it is favoring Boom. As they go back in again, FBZ, he's got the Ravage. He wants to play around here with the Omega. Van has gone a bit too far, I think. Aether Remnant goes off the mark with the lift back right into that Aether Remnant. Van, though, he's just so tanky. He may not die. Or maybe he will, because now he's surrounded. CTM should have enough control against Van, and they'll get the kill.
And it's starting to ramp up for Boom. This is their timing. They've got the Ags up on FBZ. The Gush is just flying through, providing more Mice armor for CTM to build up on. Even the slow is very useful here as well. So they hit this really great presence now because they gave FBZ such a free lane. They just completely ignored the bot. They knew the Tide could hold so, and they just built up on it.
Prince having a look around, see if he can find a straggler. Inkswell is going to be there. Skewer back on Tims. That's the straggler you're looking for. Nice setup from Prince. Again, they are still keeping this game relatively close considering the circumstances right now. You look at Prince's farm, John. He is still top of the net worth board by a long shot. They're still having a great old time. You can make the argument, maybe the Magnus doesn't transition quite as well as the Slark, but I think it does just fine. Might just be up to mechanics afterwards, but I think Prince, as long as he can keep this farm up and maybe get to that Silver Edge timing, things are going to look relatively scary.
Yeah, I think it's already scary with a BKB flying in. So with that spell immunity for Prince, he's going to have an easy time just lining up for a big RP, standing in front, leveraging that huge damage he has with the Empower. And Boom has no counterplay to that. They just don't have anything that will pierce through that spell immunity like an RP. And Omega is smoking around that timing.
Gonna try. The problem is you've got Hyde. He's positioned himself very well. Once again, they read the smokes coming. Hyde, he'll happily sacrifice himself. No problem. He'll go down. However, the Philly Stone Tims. He'll be able to pick it up in time. He saves the Tay, and now the Ravage is there right onto Van. They'll be able to get the DK, but can they find more? Prince, he'll go after FBZ, or rather FBZ will go after him. Gush is out, but Prince with the big... Oh,
what?
no!
Prince?
He blinked into the tail end of the gush. Oh, no. The BKB wears off. He blinks in. He cops the gush on the tail end. I can't believe that. That's such bad luck.
That's just unfortunate. So unfortunate, Fred. Like, it looked like he was going out scotch-free. He just blinks forward as the gush flies in. So the timing is very tight. He didn't manage to get the right position to bail out, and the slow was just enough for him to catch him on the tail end. So again, FBZ's early ags paying dividends here for Boom. That investment in the Tide Hunter lane just working out for the side of Boom as well. They're going to take this bot here too. They can take Outpost, just lock in control of that bot jungle, and they're just ready to go. They've got the BKB up on Skem now as well, so your Slark is going to be able to stand in front, not worry about anything but RP. The key thing that Boom has to be very disciplined about is declumping when they engage, and they've done a good job so far. It's been very hard for Prince to find that big opportunity for multiple heroes in an RP.
Have a look around again here, Boom. One good team fight. They just want to keep going here. Yapar, she'll jank to jump in onto Piol's. RP's there, but it only catches one. Yapar jukes it out very nicely with the Dissimilate, and now Zenki, he'll be jumped by CTM. There goes one. Piol's in trouble. He'll be the secondary. Back now, the RP taken by Tims. Right onto Van. There goes your DK once again. Just clean gameplay, John. Very, very clean gameplay here from Boom Esports.
Yeah, they're playing so well. Tim's on Rubik's just been doing a lot of work with his lips and stolen spells, and as we mentioned, it's such a good Rubik game. Every single spell from Magnus is great. Most of the spells from the Ember is good as well. The Snapfire, DK, the Grimstroke, so much utility for that hero, and they just transition to the high ground. They know without RP, the team fight of Omega is just not that strong.
Certainly isn't. Boom, they'll get a tier 3 tower. Question is, do they want to go for more? And answer is probably not. Boom, they'll be happy with that. They'll go back. Of course, you've still got a Roshan to play for. Mind you, Boom, with their draft, don't have the fastest Roshing lineup. It is going to take a bit of time, so you won't see them move over there quite yet. But they will control the Radiant Triangle, which will essentially give them free access to the Roshan anytime they like. And for Omega, you've got to look to try and take over this side of the map again.
They just need to hammer and control their triangle and their bot jungle to keep building that farm on their Ember, on their Magnus. I think I'm surprised by how little Puyol has gotten out here on his Ember. He's got the BKB, Phase, Corrosion, but he hasn't gotten anything else to amp up his damage, and that means your Ember's presence is limited. The Roche is being taken, no vision from Omega. They're rotating in the bottom lane instead, so the first Roshan's going for free on Boom.
And that's a massive misread here from Omega. Big misread. You don't expect it, that's the hard part, right? Like even I said, the draft of Boom is not made for Roshing, but for Omega, you might want to throw a scan out and check. Prince, when we chase down, we'll just BKB TP out. Understands he cannot get himself out without it. Meanwhile, Yapar's just going to jump right into 4 heroes, no problem. Jumps in again. All right, very, very risky play here from Yapar. He will get the Soulbind attached to him. Nobody else, though. Back, never mind. There it is. Tims jumps in, but there's your Ravager. Man, he's been targeted again on the DK. And this Dragon Knight is not looking quite as tanky as you'd like to see, as he will drop another time to Tims. And good old Japoi. It's not very often you see a Void Spirit jump into 4 heroes twice in a row, John. This man's got balls of steel. In fact, they even found the Magnus top lane. Aether Remnant to catch him out. I believe there's no BKB available as Tim skewers him back. RP's there, but where's your damage? He can't even kill Tims.
Oh, man. I almost thought Tims would wait. He'd tell his team to wait for the kill because there was no mana on the mag. So they could have just waited for the spell seal to be off cooldown again, grab RP, go for the next fight. They don't need it. The skewer is good enough. We've seen him just drag Prince back to the Undying for more damage, and now they're just going to go high ground. You have to worry about that repositioning from the Rubik here with the added cast range. It's so easy to get out of position when you're playing against Rubik with a Magnus on your side. And again, with no RP, there's no high ground defense.
Oh, nice skewer back, Tims. Oh, that's a great skewer back from Tims. You ask yourself, John, who's better than the Magnus at skewering? The answer's always Rubik. Who needs spell animations anyway?
Radiant's middle barracks has
You don't
fallen.
need it. You just have Arcane Supremacy, you go back, you get that added range, and of course the added faster cast timing, as you mentioned, Mike. Again, high ground is just
Uh-oh, here we go
impossible.
again.
Yes.
Another skewer out onto Zenki. 4-staff, blink, skewer back. Just perfect. Understanding how far he can go with those items. Right on the edge.
Radiant's bottom
That should be the bot lane of Rax going down. Looks like Omega, they might try to force
Radiant's
one
bottom
more
barracks
fight.
are under attack.
Yopaj is going to TP out. They'll let him go. In fact, never mind. They are not going to force the fight. They still have the top tier 2 tower. They may as well play it out with 2 Raxes down and see if they can make a bit of a comeback here. But I'll tell you what, John, it's looking pretty rough for him.
It's very tough. I think right now Prince has to hold the RP for bigger kill opportunities. He can't afford to just throw it out when he's about to die, when he can't secure a kill. Maybe he thought he had enough damage to rip through the supports. It was a tough sell. And they rely so much on the RP for their high ground defense. If not the RP, then a great skewer back. And we've got to see that from Prince. We need to see that patience to land that repositioning spell, to get them into the back line, get the numbers advantage from that, and go from there. 16k net worth lead for Boom here, Mike. It's massive. But you are keeping up with your Magnus to an extent, so there is still some potential to play here.
Yeah, Van, he has not had a great time on this DK, and it looks like it's not going to get too much better now as they move in onto the Dragon Knight, but he will be able to blink away, still CTM. He will purge him up with the defusal. It looks like Van will slowly be chipped away at as now they even found another. Gonna be a hero on that Snapfire, or maybe not. Soulbind is there, but no, never mind. Tim's, he'll be out with the Fade Bolt. He'll secure the kill for the team. And Boom Esports, 17k net worth advantage now. Still 2 Raxes up. Not going back for that top tier 2 tower. They're sticking around in this Radiant base, at least for now. Eventually it looks like they are going to back off. Well, I say that, CTM, he is pretty dead set on this, but so they will do it the old-fashioned way and go through the top.
FBZ is already in position to clear out the creep wave. Top tier 2 not going to last long. Omega, they still have a high ground play. They still have the RP ready on Prince. His damage output still not amazing without that Silver Edge, but it might be enough. As long as you get the skewer back, maybe 2 heroes in the RP, you get the numbers advantage. You can try to hold. We haven't seen the RP Kisses play yet. Hero has been forced to stay up front. If they can pull off a good Kisses from the backline with the RP on top, Boom should be a bit cautious, especially if they can't pop their BKBs in time. So there is still that threat coming through. I don't think they're going to mind too much. They've got the full Shivas up on FBZ. He can just frontline for the team, not worry too much about dying. Heck, if he gets repositioned, he could force the Ravage as well, and that could catch Omega by surprise.
Big smoke up again. 5-man here from Boom Esports. They'll go through the bot lane. Looks like they will see Zenki up first, and it's not too bad of a target to start on, but no, there's an even better target now. Piols, he's going to jump into the silence. Yopaj catches him. He'll find the BKB at least just in the nick of time, but he's going to back the hell out. He cannot use that BKB aggressively. The CTM will keep moving forward. Eventually will back off. You've committed pretty much all your spells, but you do have Ravage. So FBZ, not completely backing quite yet, might want to reinitiate. Oh, there's the lift up. They've got Van, they'll make the jump in and just look at him get shredded.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yopaj just slices right through the torso of the DK. And now CTM, he'll get to work.
They could still force the RP, but Prince is just being so patient. Look at Boom's positioning. They're just so split up. There's just no target you can pull back and RP and get control of and try to burst down. They even have to preemptively use the Kisses, so that combination with RP is gone. And their last set of racks are still open. There's no stopping.
Because they glyphed the creep wave, John. So the Kisses did not kill the range creeps off, and now Hero is going to drop in a nice RP. Where's the skill back? It's not there. Tims, he did not steal the RP away. He's got Shockwave. But without the RP now for Omega, I just don't see how you can defend this. It feels like they are heavily lacking control and damage. FBZ, for a big celebratory Ravager, it looks like, as they jump in again. They found Prince. Here's your Ravage out. They've got the stun CTM. He'll get to work. And eventually, The GG call should be incoming as Omega. They are about to get Fountain Dive. CTM, he'll get into the Shadows Dance and just go in. Quick shower here for Boom Esports. There you go, GG's called Omega. We talked about it, John. They had a pretty great laning stage, but after the laning stage was over, Boom Esports, they will just take over.
Yeah, they just managed to run with his timing under Slark. Yopaj went off to a bit of a slower start, and I know I'm kind of saying something bad about Yopaj. I guess if he sees the replay, that tweet is gone. But he had a slower start there in that Void Spirit. They were doing a good job on Omega to punish. The issue was, FBZ had a really free lane. He had an insane timing on that Ags. Like, that's just a ridiculous timing on the Ags on Tide, and he just showed up, de-shoved the creep wave, kept leveraging that minus armor once the defusal was up on CTM. I think for Omega, a bit of an issue there was that I think the Magnus Ember was strong. The DK pick didn't really line up with what they wanted. Like, sure, on paper, the DK can sort of use Empower. You get some good push out with the DK. You have a good stun combination with Blink, Inkswell, and Dragon Tail. But it didn't really contribute enough. They had so much pressure on Prince under pause 1 to not only get farm, but also line up for the big plays, to get the RPs, to get the skewer backs. And there was just not much the off lane in that sense could contribute. Whereas for Boom, in comparison, CTM only needed to worry about farming. FBZ was the one kind of setting up the plays, but you could also do plays with Tims, with Yopaj, with Lift and Remnants. And for Omega, they just never managed to use their blink timing on the DK as effectively as I think they would have hoped for. So maybe we see a bit of a shakeup in draft. It was a decent showing from Omega. I think, again, considering their inexperience on a few of their players, that was still a pretty strong showing. They just need to tighten up a bit more up against a team like Boom.
Oh, 100%. It was still an impressive start. We'll see how they do go in game number 2. Maybe just switch up the draft a little bit. We'll see what they get done. With that, we are going to head to a short 10-minute break, and right after that break, we are going to be back with Game 2 between Boom Esports and Omega Esports.